From sunrise to sunset, the SAF were target practice for the rebels.
Hello guys, today we're going to review the movie Mamasapano, Now It Can Be Told, directed by Lester Dimaranan and starring Edu Manzano. But before we continue, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video, comment, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you'll be updated when new content comes out. The movie is all about the real-life investigation of the government regarding the events that led to the massacre of 44 policemen at the hands of rebels. When reviewing a movie, there are questions you need to answer. What is the movie about? What is the goal of the movie? What are the techniques used to achieve the goal? Was the goal achieved? What is the significance of the movie beyond the aesthetic? The first four questions deal with the movie itself, the basic facts, and the technical aspect. The last question is an attempt to situate the movie in a historical context to evaluate its importance, its value to society. It could be about how the movie serves as a milestone regarding a social issue like Black Panther, or it could be in terms of technology like the Dixon experimental sound film. In the case of Mamasapano, the significance of the film is that it makes us not forget about what happened to the soldiers who gave up their lives when they became unwitting pawns of men in power. It seeks to give faces to the names we saw in the newspapers who went home wrapped in our nation's flag. That alone could be enough reason for viewers to see this film. But the next question would be, is whether the money we will spend be worth it? At first glance, that question might be easy to answer, but in the case of Mamasapano, it won't be as easy since it is inevitable that the politics of the film and its implications would have to be discussed side by side with the movie's craftsmanship. Let us first look into the film itself. We see a narration of what supposedly happened during that fateful event that led to the eventual decline in trust rating and popular support for Noynoy Aquino's government. We're then introduced to members of the SAF 44, and unfortunately, the makers of the film committed the worst crime of all, especially with their goal of making people remember them. Now, we have to first understand the psychology of uniforms and serial numbers in the police force and the military. When a recruit enters the armed forces, the first thing that is taken from that person is individuality. It is inculcated in that person that the group and the mission is now the most important thing. That is why a lot of familial relationships are sacrificed because of duty. The function of the uniform and the serial number is to make everyone look the same, to take away their humanity. So, the police and the military are now more equipment and less human. This is important for the psychology of the chain of command. The commander-in-chief and the generals below have the power to tell the police and the soldiers below them to go to their depths. And making the people more equipment than individuals who have rich lives and families makes the command easier to issue. Wouldn't it be easier to tell a soldier to hold his position and sacrifice his life for the mission if he didn't know that a child is waiting for that soldier to come home? This is likely the psychology of those in the palace and in Camp Crame when the massacre was happening. Their political agenda became much more important than the lives of those SAF members. Why would the president care about a few dead individuals when his grip on power and legacy becomes his paramount concern? To put it simply, Noynoy Aquino didn't care about the lives of the SAF 44 because he doesn't know them. They are just pawns for him to move around his political chessboard. And this is tragically what the movie failed to do. We didn't get to know the members of the SAF 44, which makes the failure of the film utterly disappointing. The members of the SAF 44 didn't get enough characterization to turn them into humans again we ought to care about. The only thing we got was a toy soldier given to Ray PJ Abellana by his offspring as a lucky charm. The rest of the members of the SAF 44 all started to look and feel the same. We simply didn't get to know them. Take for example Aljur Abrenica's character. As one of the bigger names in the cast, he got a hero shot when he exposed himself to gunfire like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando and shot at the enemy. But why should he get one? Why should we care? Who was he really? What is sad is that all the other SAF 44 members became faceless and nameless again devaluing their heroism, which is the worst thing you could do to those who fell. The movie is thus reduced to a random video game footage you see in YouTube for games like Call of Duty. The movie is a horrible missed opportunity to make the country remember the heroism of the SAF 44. The movie could have been a great treatise on the horrors of war and the game's power brokers play in government, but we don't get that. I can only commiserate with the families of the SAF 44 for getting a movie that crosses into Carlo Jacob Parras massacre movie territory. The awkward subtitle, Now It Can Be Told, is indicative of this. The performers, some of them good actors, were given a flimsy material to work with and struggled to make their characters more memorable. The movie eventually became Edu Manzano's movie, but somehow that didn't feel earned. It looked more of having a need to have the movie have a protagonist, and that became a distraction which further reduced the humanity of those who died. The movie was confused whether it wanted to be an action movie or a drama about integrity and honor. Yes, a movie can be a mix of those, but Mamasapano failed to mix those concepts. We also got two horrible and useless characters in the two reporters who were covering the story. We had Ritz Azul play a reporter who was insecure about another reporter from a rival network played by Myrtle Sarosa, who weirdly got a heroine entrance for no purpose at all. The two reporters were not needed in the story and could have been removed, and the movie would have been so much better. They were simply without any importance. I would also have to comment on the character they gave to President Noynoy Aquino. Let's make it simple. The way he was portrayed, he would fit perfectly as a villain in a Fernando Poe movie or a Steven Seagal movie. I wonder how the Aquino family would react to it. The action scenes were adequate but could have been improved by having more spatial clarity regarding the positions of the SAF 44 and their enemies. I'm wondering why the makers of the movie didn't use the drone they had. That was another missed opportunity in making the film better. And since I mentioned spatial clarity, there was a prop in the movie, a model of the mission area in the tactical station, that was hilariously off scale. No wonder the mission failed. It looked like a bad Lego set. So should the audience pay good money for the film? If you are looking for a well-made film, then don't. As I have said to those who listen to me, good intentions do not a good film make. But sometimes we just need to turn off our brains and open our hearts. Sometimes the significance of the film outweighs its craft. I think this movie still deserves to be seen, warts, wrinkles, and all, since it helps us not forget the SAF 44. Their story needs to be told. They need to be remembered. That is why in the movie 300, the threat of King Xerxes to King Leonidas was to erase their story. That is why King Leonidas asked one of his soldiers to go back to Sparta to tell their story. With our country beset by a collective forgetfulness, the only thing we can really do is to remember. So that's the review for Mamasapano, Now It Can Be Told. This has been Kulas for Tambe Reviews. Thank you for watching. Keep on playing.